Welcome to the Iowa Veterans Network, where we will try to connect veterans, companies, and supporters to each other and supply information to make better sense of the military and civilian worlds. This is Frank Spizzetto, host of this new channel dedicated to engaging conversations. Thank you for checking us out. Good morning. I'm here with Harrison Swift. He's a program manager for HomeBase Iowa. Welcome, Harrison. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So like you said, my name's Harrison Swift, and I'm the program manager here for HomeBase Iowa. I'll just go back to my service. So I joined the Marine Corps in 2010 as a 0311 infantry rifleman and served up until 2014. During my enlistment, I deployed to Afghanistan one time in the Helmand province area. And then after that, came home, transitioned out of the military, and that was when I kind of ran into some obstacles, like what type of resources and services could I utilize that were actually providing the services that they were saying they were providing. So I went through that struggle of trying to find an organization that was actually doing what they said they were doing. So that took quite a while until I found a couple of organizations out in Colorado. That's where I moved to when I initially got out. Got connected to a few different organizations out there, was able to make some friends, found my camaraderie again, and then eventually attended college, the University of Northern Colorado, where I majored in psychology, got my bachelor's degree using the GI Bill, which was a great benefit for us veterans. So got my bachelor's, worked at the place called Volunteers of America for a little while under the SSVF program doing case management services. So that was really finding veterans that were homeless and helping them get into a stable housing situation. And then after that, I realized hey, I kind of want to continue my education. So I attended University of Northern Colorado again for my master's degree in educational psychology. And during that whole process, I started to realize, wow, there's a lot of organizations out here that just are kind of, they're siloed, they're not working together. So I eventually came up with an idea with some friends on how could we bring these organizations together. So while I was out there, we started a nonprofit to really bring all of these organizations into one location. You kind of have, I guess, a central hub, if you will, for service members to go to find any of the resources and services that they needed. So I did that for 8 or 9 years, just left that about a year ago. And then eventually found myself here at HomeBase Iowa.
From Colorado to Iowa, you mentioned something, camaraderie. That's something that I come across a lot. There's got to be a lot to just being able to sit next to another veteran and just have a conversation over, the weather or whatever it is. There seems to be a different level about that. So I imagine you've experienced a lot of that with your HomeBase Iowa position.
Yeah, on the camaraderie piece, really just being able to, as soon as I see, usually it's if I see another Marine out there and they say something to me and I start talking to them, I don't put my wall or my guard up like I would, let's say, with somebody that I've never met before. So if it's another Marine and they yell at me and they tell me to come over and talk to them, my walls pretty much come down and we start talking just like we've known each other for years. I don't have to worry about what I say or how I say it. I know I'm not going to, offend them in any way, and we can just have a nice conversation and joke and, utilize our, the dark humor that we've learned to love while we were serving. And honestly, without that, I don't know what I would have done if I wouldn't have been able to find those few people that actually supported me through my transition. What was really important to me was actually finding not somebody that had just recently transitioned like I had, but somebody that had transitioned out of the military 10, 15, 20 years ago, and that was able to kind of walk me through the different, phases of that transition out of the military into civilian life, and to kind of prepare myself for certain things that could happen. Hopefully they wouldn't, but they could. And then if those issues popped up and something bad did happen, let's say a friend that I had served with, I could reach out to that veteran that had been out for a while and talk to them about what just happened. They could really, calm me and reassure me hey, this sucks. I know this is a terrible time right now, but you just have to keep moving forward. You have to keep going on. You have to just keep one foot in front of the other and don't stop and don't let it get you to a point where you decide that you want to go down that same path. And they just really help me keep me on that straight and narrow and not go down that path of, maybe possibly wanting to harm yourself.
Yeah. Veterans helping veterans is really what you're talking about there. And that's a huge thing. And I like to think of veterans helping the younger veterans be able to see that life is going to be okay. There are resources, there are people. I'm here to help you. You're here to help others. And I think that we sometimes miss that part of the conversation where I run into vets that say, well, I served my time, but I don't need to be a part of a Legion or the BFW or um, go to any of these kind of different groups or participate with HomeBase Iowa because, I'm good to go. And I try to explain to them, listen, you can be a really big resource to some of these younger veterans getting out. And heck, it could be somebody your age, a vet who's struggling, and you don't even know because, as you know, we're not the first people to raise our hand when something's not going well. For me anyway, I tend to put my head down. I will adapt and overcome, and I plow forward.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. It's that mentorship piece. We need to find those service members that have been out a little bit that we can actually ask questions, talk to, and then just bring any type of issue that you might have going on in your head or questions you might have and take it to them. And that they're going to be able to give you an answer based off of the experience that they've had. And I was also in that same boat where I didn't want to join any of those groups like the American Legion, the VFW, or any of it. I wanted to be completely as far away from the military community as I possibly could when I first got out. And that was when things got really difficult for me. I didn't have like a clear path that I wanted to go down. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. I had really no friends after I'd gotten out, just my old Marine Corps buddies that I could call, but nobody close by that I could go and see in person and talk to. And once I started getting more involved in those organizations, that was when I started to actually connect and meet these other veterans that, had been out of the military for a little while. And then they were able to start giving me some tools that I could actually use to just get through certain difficulties that I was either facing then or that I was going to be facing eventually. So yeah.
It seems to be that another veteran is easier, at least for me, to come up beside me and put their arm around me and say, hey, you're going to be okay. Or to walk up to me and say, suck it up. Put one foot in front of the next, one foot in front of the next. For me, at least, it tends to be if anybody does that, I don't quite listen. But if it's another Army friend or one of my battle buddies I still keep in touch with, it's like, all right, Ed, I'll keep going. I can do this. I can adapt and overcome. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
So with HomeBase Iowa, I have a lot of people from economic development who participate and support the River Valley Veterans Network. If I'm in economic development and business, what is the value of HomeBase Iowa?
Yeah, so the value of HomeBase Iowa for a community would be you're going to have a veteran come in to talk with you and explain or help you figure out what you could do best to actually attract and then retain these veterans or transitioning service members into your community. So sometimes we'll be helping you with tailoring an incentive package to not only, attract and retain that veteran to your community, but it'll also hopefully bring in the right type of individual into your community to fill whatever needs it is that you might have within your town or your county.
What would be a good example of from a community or a business?
So let's just say there was a community that has an issue right now with having restaurants or businesses actually opening up within their town. We could work with them on creating an incentive, I guess you could say, that would grant entrepreneurship opportunities to a veteran or service member to help them with starting up a business, or maybe helping them get reduced rent on a building that might not be being utilized at the moment to start their business out of. So they're going to be able to start a business within that town at a reduced rate, have a low overhead due to that rental fee being reduced. And then they're going to be able to come in, start up that business, and then hopefully start generating some type of an atmosphere that really starts to attract other people into the community to come and visit that establishment, or come in and have a couple of drinks at a brewery that a veteran has started. So that's one example.
That's amazing. I hadn't even thought of that. The examples that tend to come to my mind are, isn't there some counties do tax breaks on property on your
Yep.
house. I want to see Webster City. I think it was Webster City or Fort Dodge, where there's a company that gives you a free oil change every month. I mean, something as
Yeah.
simple as that can really attract and
Yep. Those simple ones too. Yeah, those are impactful because those are so helpful. Like, just that, an oil change can be nowadays, it's like $100. So if you're able to get a reduced fee on an oil change, that's a big deal. And then some of them even provide relocation incentives that they're going to help out with. If you're moving from one county and you want to move to their county, they're going to help you with that relocation cost. So they might reimburse you up to $2,500 just to help you with that move, or help you with the closing costs of a home that you might have. And then we also have statewide incentives too. So through the Military Home Ownership Program grant, there's $5,000 that veterans and service members can tap into to help towards the closing cost of their first home that they purchase within the state of Iowa.
Wow. It's almost like HomeBase Iowa is this gem that we have here. Is there one in every state, like a HomeBase Nebraska, or is this really an Iowa thing?
There is. So I've heard that there's something along similar lines as us in Indiana. And that's the only one that I'm aware of at the moment. But I believe that they're starting to pop up in some other states.
I think Indiana, isn't it? InVets, I think is what they're called.
Yes.
That's pretty.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. And what do you do on a daily basis then? Do you go out and pound the streets? Do you call vets? Do you businesses, companies, communities, or a little bit of everything above?
Yeah, so it's kind of, the whole gambit. So it just really depends on the day. So we have 5 veteran career planners throughout the state that are actually HomeBase Iowa veteran career planners. And on a daily basis, they'll either be reaching out to the communities within their area. So they'll go meet with the county VSO and talk to them about what type of incentives they have, what could we do to help and support them in events that they might be having going on, what can we do to bolster their workforce there by attracting in service members. And then they'll also be working with veterans one-on-one or transitioning service members one-on-one, with their creating a resume, applying to different jobs that they might see online, helping to practice for interviews. Really, the full array of career services is what they'll provide. And they'll even help you figure out what type of career path you'd actually want to go down when you get out. Because I know for myself, I had no idea what I wanted to do after I had gotten out. I just knew, like, hey, I'm out now. I guess I'm going to go to college, which it worked out for me, but it's not for everybody. And so they'll help you figure out, like, is school something that you should or would want to do, or would it be going into XYZ career?
Yeah. And yeah, because I imagine when you first got out, if somebody said you're going to be living in Iowa and you're going to be running a state organization helping vets, you probably wouldn't have believed that little story once they told you.
No, not at all.
And now, in our last conversation we had last week with George Kozlowski up there in Fort Dodge, he'd mentioned the levers. Now, how do the levers fit into that? Do they fit under your umbrella and then connect in with the veteran career planners?
Yeah, so they do work with us very closely with HomeBase Iowa. They actually fall under the JVSG grant, so the Jobs for Veterans State grant is how they're funded. So they're funded under a different stream than us, but they work very closely with us at HomeBase Iowa. They actually go out and do the onboarding for our HomeBase Iowa employers. So they'll work with the HomeBase Iowa employers in figuring out how they can best create a climate that's going to be conducive to a positive place to work for these service members after they get out. So they'll help these employers come up with different programs that they could establish to really show support and to really support their service members or veterans that are moving into the state and then going to be finding employment within their place of business. And then they'll also work with those employers in connecting them to service members that are interested in working for their company.
Okay. So if I was a company and I thought, I want to be more engaged in the veteran community and I want a lever to come talk to me about this, how would I go about it if I'd never started anything before from the ground up? How would that look to me as company ABC?
So you first just you can reach out to either myself or you could reach out to Jamie Norton, and then we would help get you connected to that lever. And then what will happen next is that lever will set up a time for you guys to meet. they'll kind of walk you through the different requirements and criteria we have to become a HomeBase Iowa employer get that designation. And then once you kind of understand those requirements and criteria, you can decide then if it's something that you want to continue to pursue. And then let's say if you do, then that's when the leaver and myself or another career planner will come out and meet with your organization to really discuss the different solutions or ideas that we would have to make it so that your place of business would be a comfortable place for a service member to work and feel as if they have that support that they need to become successful with your business.
Is there a requirement? Do I have to be a certain size? Do I have to be John Deere or something that big, or can I be small?
Nope, you can be any size. We don't care about the size of your company. We just care that you want to support and provide veterans with the best environment possible so that they can find success after they serve our nation.
Awesome. That sounds pretty cool. And it doesn't sound as challenging as what some people may think, that there's a lot of hoops and ladders you got to go through, and it doesn't sound like that.
No, it's not a bad process at all. It takes a little bit of time. You got to have these first couple of meetings. And then after that, it's really just us keeping that line of communication open. So that way, if we do have a veteran that reaches out to us and they seem like they're going to really fit the bill for what you're looking for your business, then we'll send that veteran over to your HR team or to that person that's running the business and let them know about that person and then send over the resume and then hopefully get an interview lined up.
All right. So switching over then to the veteran side. So if I've been a veteran, let's say I've been out for 10 years and I'm struggling and I find you on the internet, I suppose, at Facebook, the state website, and I say, hey, Harrison, I've been in management. I'm looking for a job. Here's my resume. How does that interaction kind of look then?
Yep. So then we'll start talking. We'll figure out, okay, are you still interested in this type of career path? And if they are, that's great. And then quickly after that, I'm going to get them connected to our HomeBase Iowa Veteran Career Planner, who's going to really be able to start, because they have their finger on the pulse of all these different positions that are open. So they're going to be able to start sending these open positions to that veteran and letting them know, like, hey, this position's open right now. It closes at this date. So if you would like to apply, we definitely need to get that application in. And then they'll actually walk through that application process with the service member. And then after that, they'll get that application in and then they'll wait to see what happens, right? And then that's when also the career planner can reach out to that hiring team and kind of advocate for that service member to let them know, like, hey, this is a great individual. They fit your needs. So please, give them a hard look. And then during that waiting period, we can work with them on, doing mock interviews, practicing for that interview coming up, and things like that.
Wow, that sounds pretty cool. So the thing is if I'm a vet, probably go to the state website. Is that how we find the resources if I'm a vet?
Yep. So you can go to the state website, or else you could even go to our website, homebaseiowa.gov. And then as you go through there, there'll be a few different links that'll actually take you directly to the state website.
That's cool. So is there anything we missed in what you do and what HomeBase Iowa does?
I don't believe so. I think we covered a lot of it.
Well, I think we answered a lot of questions. I've talked to people and they don't fully understand how much resources are available through HomeBase Iowa and what fabulous things you're actually out there doing and trying to grow and change. I see the signs on the interstate and highways when I pull into a town or a new county, HomeBase Iowa community, but there's actually people and resources behind each one of those signs. I think that's really what you're trying to tell everybody is come on in. We're here to help you out, help every veteran out that we can.
Yeah. And then when you see those signs and you're driving into that town or that county, you're going to know this place supports veterans. They really want to embrace you. They want you to move to their community. So you just know as soon as you drive past that sign that, okay, I can be comfortable. Like these people, they want me here. And it just makes you feel safe, I guess you could say.
Feel safe. That's an important piece. That's an important piece. Well, thank you, Harrison. Thank you for being with me today and talking with us. And you take care. And hey, welcome to Iowa, if nobody said it before.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. And thank you for this opportunity. I love what you're doing with the Veterans Network. So keep it up.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time to sit with us, and I look forward to catching up with you at a network event somewhere along the road.